the 3 skills AI can't steal, and how to master them for a $200,000 plus salary. If you want a $200,000 salary, here's the real threat. AI is boosting output while flattening pay for predictable work. 3 skills AI can't take: complex decision-making, emotional intelligence, and systems thinking, make you profit-critical when stacked. Quick payoff: you price by impact, not hours, and land executive-level retainers. One stat to anchor urgency. In advanced economies, studies estimate up to roughly 60% of jobs have high exposure to automation from AI tools. The threat is real. The plan is simple. It pays more. We're skipping fear and going straight to your playbook. Why these skills print money in an AI world. The thing most people miss: AI doesn't just replace tasks, it bends the wage curve. When tools can do more, companies expect more. Output rises, but pay for task work flattens, wage compression. The escape is to stop selling tasks and start moving profit. These 3 skills: decide well, empathize strategically, and think in systems, move revenue, risk, and time. Owners pay premiums for that. Think of them as new capital. Not cash, not code, capabilities that compound. Every decision improves the next. Every relationship you stabilize multiplies cooperation. Every system you clarify raises throughput. Compounding assets create non-linear pay. Shortcut: results beat roles. Don't market yourself as a strategist or analyst. Monetize outcomes: revenue up, risk avoided, time saved, churn down. Anchor offers to outcomes, not effort. That's how retainers hit 5 figures and projects cross 6. Why does this matter now? 2 reasons. First, AI makes good average cheap. Major analyses, e.g. ILO and McKinsey, show high exposure for clerical and routine cognitive tasks, and even specialized roles are being reshaped as AI handles more of the workflow. Second, leaders are overwhelmed by choices and uncertainty. More tools, more data, tighter timelines. That's fertile ground for people who can navigate ambiguity, persuade stakeholders, and design interventions that actually work. Quick frame we'll use throughout. Problem: why the current approach fails, better method, implementation, results. Problem: you feel your work is getting faster, but not more valuable. AI drafts, analyzes, summarizes, yet your pay barely moves. Why the current approach fails: if you sell tasks, AI erodes your margin. Buyers compare your work to a tool. Even if you're better, they question the premium. You're stuck explaining effort instead of proving impact. Better method: reposition around outcomes linked to profit levers. Use complex decision-making to choose high-leverage moves under uncertainty. Use emotional intelligence to win trust, align incentives, and resolve friction that kills deals and delivery. Use systems thinking to prevent local wins from causing downstream losses. Implementation: shift the conversation to impact. Ask, what's the cost of inaction? What decision is stuck? Where are we leaking margin or time? Propose a pilot tied to a measurable change, with guardrails and a kill switch. Use a floor fee plus a success component tied to EBITDA, revenue, or risk avoided. Deliver artifacts that signal clarity: decision memos, causal loop maps, dashboards with leading indicators. And keep a decision log to show your judgment under uncertainty. Leaders value seeing how you think. Results: you stop competing with AI and start pairing with it. AI becomes your acceleration layer, generating options, surfacing base rates, drafting briefs. You supply the judgment, persuasion, and system design. That's where premiums live. The reason this works is simple. Decision quality is a major driver of long-term outcomes, but it's hard to evaluate. When you package your process, show your assumptions, and manage risk with pilots and reversibility, you reduce perceived downside while keeping upside visible. That makes signing you feel safe and smart. The thing most people miss about emotional intelligence: it's not niceness. It's accuracy and influence. Social awareness and emotional control correlate with higher leadership pay because leaders buy 3 things: certainty, safety, and status. Confidence in outcomes, protection from downside, and wins they can champion. If you remember one line, keep this: your job is to make decisions feel safer and move faster. Systems thinking turns scattered metrics into an operating story. Businesses aren't spreadsheets, they're loops. Marketing spend affects-led quality, which affects sales cycle, which affects cash, which affects hiring, which affects execution. Push here, pressure pops there. AI often optimizes locally. Pros optimize globally. When you show the loops and pick the smallest viable intervention, you get quick wins without creating new fires. Best practice versus preference? Best practice is pricing by impact, de-risked pilots, and artifact-backed decisions. Preference is your style. Don't confuse them. Clients don't buy your vibe. They buy reduced risk and increased return. Quick win before we move on. Pick one problem this month that you can price by impact. Example prompts. Reduce churn in our mid-market segment, close the stalled enterprise deal, or reallocate budget without hurting growth. Define the before/after in one sentence. Anchor your price to the value delta, not your hours. Once you think in outcomes, everything changes. You stop waiting for the perfect credential. You start creating value narratives that CFOs respect. And you'll see the compounding effect quickly. Better decisions lead to better systems, which make AI-driven conversations smoother, which unlock bigger decisions. Now let's start with the foundation, complex decision-making. Complex decision-making, what it really is. Let's get concrete. Complex decision-making is choosing among options when you have many variables, incomplete information, competing incentives, and real constraints: time, money, people, regulation. It's not picking the best spreadsheet row. It's balancing trade-offs under uncertainty and committing with a plan to adapt as reality pushes back. Why does AI struggle here? 2 reasons. First, incomplete data and shifting incentives. Models lean on historical patterns. High-stakes choices often live in foggy, novel contexts with politics, ethics, and evolving constraints. Second, objective functions are fuzzy. Maximize profit sounds simple until you weigh brand risk, regulatory heat, morale, and strategic optionality. That fuzziness is where human judgment lives, and current AI systems lack stable causal reasoning and value alignment to resolve it. The thing most people miss is the decision type matters more than the decision content. Before you solve, classify the decision. Is it reversible or irreversible? High or low stakes? Short or long horizon? Known knowns, known unknowns, or truly unknown? That classification sets your evidence bar, speed, and risk controls. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Define the decision type first, then pick the method. Here's the mental model stack I use as my default lens. Base rates. Start with outside view statistics. What happens typically in situations like this? Don't anchor to your favorite anecdote. Anchor to reality's averages. Second-order effects. Ask, and then what? A price cut may lift conversions, but what does it do to perceived quality, sales cycle, support load, and partner margin? Reversibility. Bezos's two-way versus one-way doors. If it's reversible, bias for speed and learning. If it's one-way with real downside, slow down, widen inputs, and pre-commit to kill switches. Optionality. Protect the right to change your mind cheaply. Prefer options that keep more paths open unless you're paid well to lock in. Expected value. Multiply outcomes by their probabilities. You'll never know the exact odds, but rough EV beats gut feel in messy environments. Asymmetric bets. Hunt for small downside, large upside moves. In uncertainty, asymmetry pays your salary. Now here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Name the constraint explicitly. What's the real bottleneck? Capital, attention, capacity, trust, timing? Decisions fail because they optimize a local metric while starving the bottleneck. If the constraint is attention, your perfect plan that requires 10 new meetings is dead on arrival. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. Say a SaaS VP is deciding whether to expand into a new vertical. The naive path is market size slides and a roadmap wishlist. The professional path starts with type, partially reversible, pilot, medium high stakes, 12 to 18-month horizon, known unknowns around sales cycle and compliance. Base rates say vertical expansions often underperform first-year revenue targets. Second-order effects flag sales enablement, support complexity, and brand clarity risks. Reversibility suggests a bounded pilot with a defined exit. Optionality pushes us to partner before hiring a dedicated team. Expected value frames the target. Modest probability of big upside. Protect the downside with staged spend. Asymmetry says limit the initial cost. Chase logos that unlock future sales. Common mistakes to avoid. Optimizing a local metric. You crush CAC this quarter by slashing brand spend, then eat it in lower pipeline quality next quarter. You won the hill, lost the war. Premature precision. You build a 40-tab model to feel safe. The inputs are guesses. Better to get rough base rates, run a pilot, and update. Decision by default. We'll revisit next quarter is still a decision with hidden costs. Always choose a default path deliberately. One narrative only. If your recommendation has no serious counterfactual, you're selling, not thinking. Red team your own idea. How do you practice? Use a decision log. For every meaningful choice, record type, constraint, options, expected value ranges, pre-mortem risks, and your kill criteria. Then revisit outcomes and update. Your priors. This is how your judgment compounds. The reason this works is that leaders don't just want answers. They want clarity, speed, and safety. When you classify the decision, show your model stack, and right-size the risk, you become the person who makes hard calls feel manageable. Now let's turn that judgment into invoices. Monetizing complex decision-making. Now let's turn sharp decisions into cash. 3 clean lanes pay for judgment: strategy consulting, deal advisory, and risk architecture. Strategy consultants get hired when leadership is stuck between big bets, market entry, pricing shifts, portfolio cuts. Deal advisors step in when the downside is real: acquisitions, partnerships, divestitures. Risk architects redesign exposure: operational, regulatory, reputational. So growth isn't fragile. The common thread is simple. These are make-or-break choices with asymmetric outcomes. That's why owners pay premiums. Package it so buyers get it fast. Sell the decision, not the deck. Offer. Help choose among high-stakes options, quantify upside/downside, and run a low-risk path with clear kill switches. That's the spine. Then add artifacts that signal rigor. Decision memos with assumptions and trade-offs, counterfactuals comparing real alternatives, and a red team stress test. These aren't busy work. They lower perceived risk and raise price tolerance. Pricing matters. Floor plus success fee is the default. Charge a non-refundable base to cover discovery, modeling, and facilitation. Then tie a contingent component to the value delta. Avoided loss, added EBITDA, revenue lift, cost to serve reduction, or cycle time compression. Anchor the upside to a credible base rate and your pilot's measurable metrics. If the decision prevents a likely $1 million mistake, a 10 to 20% success fee on the avoided loss can be justified. If it adds $2 million in EBITDA, a 5 to 10% share of uplift beats hourly forever when measurement is clean. Let me show you exactly how to frame an engagement. Use this case structure in plain English: context, options, costs, recommendation. Context. Your churn jumped from 6% to 9% in 2 quarters. Expansion revenue is masking decay. Options. Freeze acquisition to focus on retention, double down on new logos, or redesign onboarding for mid-market while tightening discounting. Costs. Freezing acquisition saves cash but risks pipeline. Doubling down fuels top line but deepens churn. Onboarding redesign requires cross-functional work but targets the root loop. Recommendation. Run a 6-week onboarding pilot for the highest churn cohort with a pricing floor of $35,000 plus a success fee tied to 90-day retention lift. Kill switch if leading indicators don't move by week 3. The game changer nobody talks about is the counterfactual packet. Package your top 2 discarded options with the reasons they lost. Key risks, dependency map, and what would need to be true for them to win. Why it works. It shows you thought broadly, and it lets leadership reverse later without shame if conditions change. That perceived optionality is valuable. Now here's where most people mess up. They sell advice as a PDF. Don't. Sell a decision process with implementation scaffolding. Offer a rapid decision lab. 2 weeks, 3 workshops. Day 1, classify the decision type, define outcomes, and surface constraints. Day 3, build options and premortems. Day 10, recommendation with pilot plan, metrics, and governance. You include a facilitation kit, decision log template, and a stakeholder briefing script for the exec sponsor. The deliverable is momentum, not slides. For enterprise buyers, add a red team review. Bring in an independent skeptic, contractor, or trusted partner to attack your recommendation for an hour. Capture the risks, adjust your plan, and attach the transcript or summary notes. It's a low-cost way to buy credibility and surface hidden assumptions. You can start smaller. Offer a make-or-break decision sprint for stalled initiatives. Pricing, hiring, tooling, vendor selection. Price it at $7, $15K floor with a 1 to 3% success kicker on the measurable outcome. If the decision is about avoiding a vendor lock-in with hidden switching costs, peg the fee to the avoided TCO over a year. Finally, your marketing. Led with outcomes. We help CEOs choose under uncertainty, avoid seven-figure mistakes, and capture asymmetric wins. Add 2 one-page case snapshots showing the context, the choice, the pilot result, and the value delta. Include one microstory where a client changed course because a red team insight exposed a hidden constraint. The reason this sells is that you're making the invisible, judgment quality, visible and safe. And when decisions feel safer, budgets get bigger. Implementation, the decide framework. You've got the judgment, now make it repeatable. Use decide, define, establish, collect, identify, decide, execute. It turns foggy choices into controlled experiments leaders can trust and pay for. Define the decision. Before you touch data, classify it. Is this reversible or irreversible? What are the stakes? What's the time horizon? Who owns the outcome? Write one crisp prompt. We're choosing X versus Y under Z constraint by date. Call out the primary bottleneck, capital, capacity, attention, trust, or timing. This stops local metric games and sets the pace. If it's reversible, speed and learning beat polish. If it's one way, widen inputs, slow down, and pre-commit kill criteria. Establish outcomes. Success isn't better. It's specific. Name the target metric, guardrails, and constraints. Lift 90-day retention from 82% to 88% within 1 quarter. Do not raise average handle time above 5 minutes. Cap spend at $60,000. Maintain NPS plus or -2. Add a no-harm clause. What must not get worse? Clarify the time window for judging. This is your scoreboard and your brake pedal. Collect signals. Don't drown in dashboards. Pull base rates from comparable decisions, leading indicators you can move fast, and adversarial inputs. Ask, what would a smart skeptic say? Get one internal critic and one external voice to list failure modes. Catalog assumptions as testable statements. If a number is a guess, label it as a guess. Use AI to gather ranges and priors. You own the judgment on relevance. Identify options. Expand, then contract. Generate at least 4. Status quo, conservative tweak, bold swing, and a cheap probe. Include a no-decision baseline so you can compare against doing nothing. For each option, sketch costs, dependencies, and a simple causal loop. If we push here, where does pressure pop out? Rank by asymmetry. Small downside, large upside wins. Kill anything that starves the primary constraint. Decide and de-risk. Run a pre-mortem. 6 weeks later, this failed. Why? Capture the top 5 risks, then add countermeasures and kill switches. Design an 80-20 pilot with a tight scope, a small budget, and fast feedback. Pre-commit to the threshold that triggers stop, continue, or scale. If the decision is truly one way, stage it. Reversible steps first, irreversible last. Execute and learn. Build a decision memo. Context, decision type, outcomes, options, recommendation, pilot plan, guardrails, kill criteria, owner. Share it with stakeholders using a brief script that hits why now, how we'll keep risk small, and what we'll watch. Log the decision in a simple tracker. Date, assumptions, metrics, outcome. Do an after-action review at the checkpoint. What surprised us? What did we learn? What do we update? This is how your judgment compounds. Here's a live example. Decision. Switch pricing from seats to usage for mid-market customers. Define. Partially reversible via grandfathering. Medium high stakes. 90-day pilot horizon. Bottleneck is sales enablement capacity. Establish outcomes. Raise average revenue per account by 12% with churn less than or equal to plus 0.5%. Sales cycle less than or equal to plus 10%. Implementation cost less than or equal to $40,000. Collect signals. Base rates say usage pricing can lift ARPA, but often lengthens cycles. Leading indicators are pilot acceptance rate, win rate shift, and discount frequency. Adversarial input warns of bill shock backlash. Identify options. Keep seats with higher tiers. Hybrid plan with usage add-ons. Full usage for new logos only. Limited cohort test. Decide and de-risk. Choose hybrid for a 40-account cohort. Pre-mortem highlights messaging confusion and finance edge cases. Kill switch if discount rate jumps 30% or pilot acceptance drops below 50% by week 3. Execute and learn. Run enablement, instrument leading indicators, review in week 2 and 5, and decide to expand, iterate, or stop. Now here's where most people mess up. They treat decide like paperwork. It's not. It's velocity with guardrails. The point isn't a perfect memo. It's faster learning with smaller explosions. Another trap, overfitting the pilot. If your test environment doesn't stress the real bottleneck, your result won't transfer. Always design pilots that hit the constraint you identified. Quick win you can do today. Run your next high-stakes choice through Decide in 30 minutes. Set a timer. 10 minutes to define and establish. 10 to collect and identify. 10 to decide and design a pilot. Write the one-page memo and share it. You'll feel the relief of clarity immediately. The reason this framework works is it turns amorphous strategy into observable commitments. What we're doing, why, how we'll stop if it's wrong, and what success looks like. Leaders buy that clarity because it lowers regret risk. Once you can decide well on a loop, you multiply the payoff with people. Emotional intelligence, why it's a wealth multiplier. Once decisions are sharp, the next multiplier is people. Poor emotional intelligence quietly kills profit. Deals stall, teams churn, margins evaporate and rework in politics. I've watched smart plans die because one stakeholder felt blindsided. The cost, longer cycles, hidden resistance, and talent flight. Flip it and EI becomes a revenue engine, faster agreements, cleaner execution, compounding loyalty. Let's define it properly. Emotional intelligence isn't being nice. It's accurate perception, self-regulation, empathy, and strategic rapport. Perception accuracy is reading the room, tone, timing, power, and subtext, so you don't step on landmines. Regulation is managing your state under pressure, so you respond, not react. Empathy is understanding others' motives and constraints without fusing with them. Strategic rapport is aligning language, pacing, and frames to move a conversation toward commitment. This clicked for me when I realized leaders don't buy tasks. They buy certainty, safety, and status. Why it pays, people decide emotionally, then justify logically. In high-stakes settings, they scan for 3 needs: certainty the plan will work, safety that failure won't crush them, and status for championing it. Meet those needs explicitly and perceived risk drops while ownership rises. That's pricing power. Now, the thing most people miss: niceness isn't influence. Saying yes to every request just creates vague agreements and scope creep. Influence is guiding toward clear decisions, surfacing conflict early, and converting tension into progress. The game changer nobody talks about is naming the real fear in the room, cleanly and without drama. I'm hearing a concern that if we push this pilot and it stalls, sales will take the blame. Let's build a guardrail that protects quota. You'll feel the resistance drop. Here's how to apply it. Use a simple EI loop. Observe, label, map the need, respond. Observe, notice language shifts, micro delays, hedging. Label, it sounds like timing is the main worry. Map the need. Is this about certainty, safety, or status? Respond with the right lever. If it's certainty, offer evidence, pilots, and leading indicators. If it's safety, add reversible steps, clear kill switches, and shared risk. If it's status, frame wins they can own. Visibility, narrative, and recognition for the champion. Here's a quick example. A CFO is stonewalling your retention pilot. Their words: let's revisit next quarter. Translation: safety risk. You respond: totally fair to minimize disruption. Let's constrain this to 50 accounts, cap spend at $20,000, and if leading indicators don't move by week 2, we'll shut it down, no impact to targets. You'll have a clean, we tested responsibly story. That's safety plus status in one move. Common mistakes to avoid: flooding with logic when emotions are driving the stall. Lead with acknowledgement, then data. Solving the wrong need. You give more proof when they want protection. You add guardrails when they need recognition. Mirroring anxiety. If they escalate, you slow your cadence and narrow the ask. Practice with micro-reps. In your next tough conversation, run the 30-second EI test. Identify the dominant need: certainty, safety, or status, and make one sentence that meets it. Certainty. Here are the 2 leading indicators we'll track weekly. Safety. This is fully reversible by Friday. Status. I'll make sure you're credited in the exec update. Do that consistently and watch cycle times drop. Negotiation is where EI hits the P&L, map power, interests, and constraints. Know each party's BATNA and non-negotiables. Shape offers to expand the pie while protecting face. A small concession, framed as respect, can unlock a bigger trade on your priority. And use silence. Ask a clean question, then stop. People reveal needs when given space. That's the difference between soft skills, theater, and revenue movement. If you remember nothing else, remember this. High earnings conversations are emotional engineering. You're de-risking the human side so the logic can land. That's why EI is a wealth multiplier. It speeds decisions, preserves margins, and turns clients into advocates. Now we'll put that influence to work on systems, so local wins don't break the business. Monetizing emotional intelligence. You've got the read on humans. Now let's turn it into revenue. There are 3 high-paying lanes where EI converts directly to cash: negotiation, executive coaching, and retention strategy. Negotiation gets paid because stalled deals bleed pipeline value every week. Coaching converts because leaders buy clarity and composure under pressure. Retention strategy gets premium retainers because keeping customers and talent is cheaper and faster than replacing them. Package each as an outcome, not a calendar block. Start with negotiation. Offer. We unstick high-value deals in 21 days. Scope a single stuck opportunity with a clear dollar value. Your process is simple and visible. Diagnose power, interests, and constraints. Map BATNAs, script moves, rehearse, then run the conversation with a fallback plan. The artifact set matters: a negotiation playbook, custom leader scripts, a give-get matrix, and a post-call debrief with next move trees. Price it with a floor plus win-based fee, say $7, 20K base, plus 1 to 3% of the closed amount or uplift versus the current offer. Anchor to the time value. Every week of delay decays expected value. Now executive coaching. Sell outcomes executives will happily expense. Decision speed, conflict conversion, and board-ready communication. Offer. 90-day clarity sprint for revenue leaders. Deliver a cadence. Weekly 50-minute sessions plus 2 on-demand crisis calls. Artifacts include a trigger-to-response map for pressure moments, a leader messaging toolkit, and a negotiation rehearsal library. Price is a premium retainer, not hourly, $4, 12K per month depending on access and scope. Tie a small success bonus to a concrete outcome, faster cycle times, higher close rates, or specific stakeholder wins. You're not a therapist, you're a force multiplier for moments that move dollars. Retention strategy is where EI shows its ROI fast. Offer. Fix the attrition bleed. Start with 2 discovery calls to read the power map, who really loses if churn stays high, and surface status threats that block change. Process. Run interviews with customers and frontline staff, code the themes into certainty, safety, and status gaps, then design interventions that meet those needs in sequence. Deliverables. A churn playbook, leader scripts for renewal calls, a feedback cadence, and a dashboard of leading indicators, warning signals before the cancel. Price a phased engagement, diagnostic, pilot, scale. Take a share of savings or uplift where you can credibly measure it. Here's the 30-second EI test in action. In a renewal call, the champion goes quiet after procurement's email. Identify the need. If it's certainty, offer a pilot extension with KPIs and a midterm success review. If it's safety, add a shared risk clause and an easy opt-out. If it's status, frame the renewal as their initiative. Your revamp cut onboarding time by 22%. Let's put your team's name on the playbook. That one sentence is the difference between "we'll think about it" and a signed DocuSign. Your process template across all 3 lanes is the same. Diagnose, map, script, rehearse, execute, debrief. Diagnose the human constraints. Map power and BATNAs. Script the first 3 exchanges with if-then branches. Rehearse out loud, record and tighten. Execute with pacing, short sentences, clean questions, calibrated pauses. Debrief immediately, update the script, and roll the next move. Clients pay for the feeling that the path is controlled. Let me show you a clean offer example. Close the stalled deal. Context. $1.2 million annual contract stuck at legal and procurement for 8 weeks. Scope. 10 business days. Deliverables. Power map, BATNA sheet, objection handling scripts, executive escalation email, and a concession ledger with preset trade-offs. Price. $12,000 base plus 2% of the closed ARR above $900,000. Kill switch. If the internal champion won't grant senior access by day 3, pause and refund half the base. Why it sells. Low downside, clear upside, visible plan. Common mistakes that kill EI monetization: selling soft skills sessions with no tie to money, flooding leaders with generic advice, and skipping rehearsals. Avoid them by tying every artifact to a moment that moves dollars. A script for the tough call, a cadence that reduces churn, a message that wins budget. And rehearse. Unpracticed words collapse under pressure. 2 micro-stories. A VP couldn't get her pricing pilot approved. We reframed for safety, reversible steps, explicit kill switch and protected quota, and status. She'd present the pilot as her initiative in the exec meeting. Approved in 24 hours. Another client's enterprise renewal stalled at an over-budget objection. We mapped procurement's BATNA, traded a modest discount for a 3-year term and a case study with logo usage. Uplift versus last year, 18%. Final packaging move: give executives language they can steal. Offer a 1-page leader scripts. Pack: discovery, objection handling, escalation, and board updates. It's a cheat code. It travels inside the org, credits you, and seeds your next contract. If you remember nothing else, remember this. EI prints money when it's operationalized into decisions, scripts, and cadences tied to measurable outcomes. Priced by the value of movement, deals closed, churn reduced, conflict converted. That's how influence turns into income. Systems thinking, the new financial modeling. Now that conversations move money, make sure the moves don't backfire. Businesses don't act like neat spreadsheets. They act like interacting loops. Systems thinking is the lens that shows you those loops, stocks and flows, reinforcing and balancing feedback, delays, and leverage points, so you can change behavior without creating new fires. AI's blind spot is local optimization. Your advantage is shaping global behavior. Here's the why. Every metric you chase lives inside a system. Push acquisition, and you change lead mix. Change lead mix, and you affect sales cycle. Sales cycle hits cash timing, which alters hiring, which changes delivery quality, which feeds back into churn and brand. One tweak alters many flows with delays. If you don't see the loops, you'll win this quarter and lose the year. Systems thinking prevents Goodhart's law traps, when a target becomes a bad measure because it's gamed. What it is in plain English. Stocks are accumulations, customers, cash, backlog, talent. Flows add or drain those stocks, sign-ups, churn, revenue, expenses, hires, attrition. Reinforcing loops amplify change. Success breeds more success, or decay spirals downward. Balancing loops counteract change. Capacity limits, market saturation, or regulatory friction that slow growth. Delays are lags between cause and effect that make you feel like nothing's working, until everything changes at once. The thing most people miss: clarity beats complexity. You don't need fancy software to think in systems. You need a clean causal story. Shortcut: name one misbehaving stock, then map 2 loops, one reinforcing, one balancing. Ask, if we push here, where does pressure pop out? That single question prevents half the unforced errors. Let me show you exactly how. Suppose net revenue retention is sliding. Stock, active revenue. Flows, expansion, contraction, churn. Reinforcing loop. Better onboarding leads to faster time to value, which raises product usage, which triggers expansion, which funds more onboarding resources. Balancing loop. Discounting during acquisition increases poor fit customers, which raises support load, which slows response times, which drives churn. 2 loops, 1 lever. The highest leverage might be tightening discount policy for risky segments, not another marketing campaign. Common mistake: adding complexity instead of clarity. If your diagram looks like spaghetti, you haven't chosen a theme. Pick a time horizon and one question. What drives NRR over the next 2 quarters? Everything else is noise. Another mistake: ignoring delays. You adjust onboarding today and judge NRR tomorrow. That's a guaranteed bad call. Choose leading indicators that move faster: activation milestones, support contact ratio, feature adoption, so you don't steer by the rearview mirror. Here's a simple method you can run with a client or team in 60 minutes. Step 1. Define the misbehaving metric and horizon. Step 2. List the stocks and flows directly related. Step 3. Sketch 2 to 4 causal loops, labeling links with plus or minus. Step 4. Mark delays with a hash or delay tag. Step 5. Circle potential leverage points, places where a small change propagates through loops. Step 6. Choose the smallest viable intervention that strengthens a helpful loop or weakens a harmful one. Then instrument 1 or 2 leading indicators to watch the loop's response. Let's do a quick micro case. A marketplace wants faster growth. They plan to crank paid ads. The system's read reveals a hidden balancing loop. New sellers without training lead to poor buyer experiences, which lower repeat rate, which reduces organic word of mouth, forcing more paid spend at worse unit economics. The smallest viable intervention? A seller readiness gate and a quick start education sequence before ad spend scales. Result: paid works better because the balancing loop is weakened. Why this beats AI alone? A model can optimize bids or routes, but it won't know that an incentive change will trigger gaming that hurts a downstream KPI with a 45-day delay. You do. You can preempt exploitation, design guardrails, and choose metrics that resist Goodhart's law. The reason this works is that systems thinking aligns incentives with structure. You make the easy thing the right thing. Current AI lacks robust causal understanding and can miss delayed second-order effects. Mental model checkpoint. Look for reinforcing versus balancing tension, surface delays, and choose leverage points. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Improve behavior by changing the structure, not yelling at the metric. Quick win today. Pick one stubborn metric and draw 2 loops on a single page. One that pushes it up, one that drags it down. Add 1 delay. Choose 1 lever you can test in 2 weeks. You'll feel the fog lift. Next, we'll turn that clarity into executive checks that get you paid. Monetizing systems thinking. Here's where loops turn into invoices. Systems thinking sells when you make executives money or save them from expensive surprises. 3 lanes pay well because they change behavior at the org level: business architect, product strategist, and ops redesign. Business architects align incentives, metrics, and structure so strategy actually happens. Product strategists design growth engines that don't cannibalize margins. Ops redesign removes bottlenecks so throughput rises without burning people. The common thread: you change the structure, not just the dashboard. Compensation in these lanes commonly ranges from low 6 figures for mid-level roles to $150,000 to $200,000 plus for senior leads. Productized consulting can exceed that via outcome-based fees. Package the offer as behavior change with measurable financial effects. Don't sell a systems map. Sell bottleneck removal, churn flywheel fixes, and margin lift maps with pilots. Your positioning line: we reveal the loops driving your stubborn metrics, pick 1 leverage point, and run a low-risk pilot that moves CFO-grade outcomes. Phased is best. Diagnostic pilot scale. Diagnostic: 2 to 4 weeks. You run leadership interviews, pull key metrics, and sketch targeted causal loop diagrams around 1 misbehaving stock: NRR, margin, cycle time, or backlog. Deliverables: a 1-page causal story, a list of leverage points ranked by asymmetry, and a short list of leading indicators to watch. Price this as a fixed scope. The artifact that sells the next phase is a leverage ladder. 3 interventions from smallest viable to bold, with estimated impact ranges and cost. Pilot: 6 to 8 weeks. Choose a single lever that strengthens a reinforcing loop or weakens a balancing loop. You design guardrails, metrics, and a kill switch. Deliverables: a pilot charter, a dashboard with 2 to 3 leading indicators tied to the loop, and an enablement pack for the teams affected. Price floor plus share of uplift or savings. Anchor to CFO math. If the pilot lifts NRR 2 points in a $20 million book, present the annualized value and take a small slice. Scale: 3 to 6 months. If the pilot hits thresholds, roll across segments or regions. You harden the process, train internal owners, and bake the loop's leading indicators into exec reviews. Deliverables: an operating playbook, a dashboard spec for analytics, and a governance rhythm that prevents backsliding. Price a retainer with a success kicker tied to sustained outcomes over a defined window. Your deliverables should feel executive ready. Aim for 3 artifacts that travel: causal loop maps that tell a crisp story, leading indicator dashboards that forecast the metric early, and margin lift maps that tie interventions to P&L lines. Keep maps clean: 4 to 8 variables, 2 to 3 loops, delays marked. Dashboards should show today's state, trend, and threshold lines triggering action. The margin lift map connects the intervention to unit economics, where gross margin, CAC payback, or cost to serve bends. A simple case structure keeps you credible: current behavior, loops, leverage, pilot results. Current behavior. Cycle time flat despite spend. Loops. Work in progress increases wait times, which creates expedites, which increase context switching, which increases WIP. Leverage. Cap WIP and add a triage gate. Pilot results. Cycle time down 18%, on-time delivery up 12%, expedite rate down 40%. Close with the annualized value and what it took to get it. Pricing options that work. Share of savings or uplift when measurement is clean. Otherwise, phased fixed fees with a modest success fee if leading indicators hit preset bands. Always include a no regrets clause. If leading indicators don't move by a checkpoint, shut it down and roll learning into a revised hypothesis. Common mistakes that kill deals. Selling complexity, not clarity. Mapping everything, moving nothing. Ignoring the human loops, and skipping measurement design. Fix them by choosing a single stock, writing the one-sentence loop story, naming the human balancing loop, fear, incentives, capacity, and instrumenting 2 leading indicators. You are not delivering a poster. You are delivering a repeatable behavior change with a P&L impact. A micro-story. A B2B SaaS had flat NRR. Everyone blamed product gaps. The loops showed discounting had lowered fit, which raised support load, which slowed onboarding, which suppressed usage, which cut expansion. The smallest lever wasn't a feature. It was a discount gate plus a customer health trigger that escalated. Onboarding help in week 1. Pilot cohort NRR rose 4 points. Support contacts per account fell 9%. That funded the next feature. You're close. Led with. We reduced churn, lift margins, and shorten cycle time by redesigning the loops driving your metrics. Diagnostic in 2 weeks, pilot in 6, scale if it works. Attach 2 case snapshots and 1 map. Then ask for the smallest viable problem. When you make the structure sing, budgets sing too. The $200,000 plus skill combo, synthesis that pays non-linear. Here's the jump, from good to rare. You can decide under uncertainty, influence under pressure, and read systems so moves don't backfire. Alone, each pays well. Combined, they compound into non-linear value. The stack is simple. Decide plus empathize plus systemize. Decide picks the right bet. Empathize gets buy-in and protects execution. Systemize ensures the win scales without breaking margins. That combo shifts you from smart contributor to profit architect. Here's the reason it pays. Leaders don't want 70 slides. They want safe progress. Decide gives clarity and guardrails. EI lowers the human friction that kills speed. Systems thinking aligns incentives so the change sticks. That reduces downside, accelerates upside, and builds a repeatable play. When buyers feel that safety and speed, they greenlight bigger checks. Let me contrast 2 routes. Route 1 is the $90,000 analyst. They produce great analysis in isolation, hand off insights, and hope someone acts. Route 2 is the $250,000 executive strategist. They run the decision process, align stakeholders, and design a pilot that bends a CFO-grade metric. They own the loop from ambiguity to measurable movement. Same brains, different scope. The difference isn't the tool, it's the synthesis. Here's the productized version, the Decision Lab Retainer. Position it for CEOs, GMs, or business unit leaders. Promise, we turn your 3 hairiest decisions each quarter into controlled experiments that move revenue, margin, or churn without blowing up the org. What they buy each month: 1 decide sprint, 1 systems diagnostic on a stubborn metric, and EI-led stakeholder sessions to keep momentum. Plus, a decision log portfolio and a leading indicator dashboard the exec team can run without you. The deliverable is fewer fires and clearer choices. Structure it like this. Month 1, triage the portfolio of stuck calls. Classify decision types, name constraints, and pick 1 leverage point tied to a P&L line. Build the causal story, run the premortem, and design a pilot with a crisp kill switch. Before launch, run 2 EI moves, a champion script for the sponsor and a pressure map session to preempt status threats. Then execute, instrument leading indicators, and hold a tight after-action review. Repeat with the next 2 decisions, rotating through functions so you de-risk politics. The flywheel is real. Better decisions create fewer emergencies. Fewer emergencies free management attention. Freed attention increases strategic cadence, more high-quality bets, more learning, faster compounding. Systems mapping keeps the wins from pulling liabilities into the future. EI keeps the coalition intact so momentum doesn't decay. After 2 quarters, your presence elevates from vendor to thought partner because the operating story improves and people feel it. Risk framing is your negotiation edge. Sell downside protection plus upside optionality. Downside, reversible steps, clear thresholds, guardrails that protect targets. Upside, staged options that keep paths open until evidence earns the lock-in. That's how you move from "why so expensive" to "this is cheap insurance." Use executive language, EBITDA, working capital, CAC payback, NRR, so the impact lands where it matters. Positioning rules matter here. Sell outcomes, not hours. Stop listing workshops and start listing decisions crossed, errors avoided, and dollars unlocked. Talk in C-suite language, cycle time, margin structure, risk exposure. Anchor your social proof to CFO-grade results with dates and deltas. Then show your thinking with one-page decision memos. The combo of impact and transparency is rare. It earns trust and control. Let me show you a microstack in action. A consumer fintech faced rising fraud chargebacks and a growth stall. Decision: tighten risk rules or preserve conversion. EI move: acknowledge revenue fear, frame reversible tests. Systems read: tightening rules pushes good users away, raising CAC via paid spend. Lever: redesign identity verification flow for high-risk cohorts only. Pair with a provisional limit. Pilot: 2-week cohort. Leading indicators are false positive rate, approval time, and day 7 activation. Result: chargebacks down 22%, approval time up 6%, but below guardrail, NRR unaffected. Next move: automate the cohort logic, expand. That's decide plus empathize plus systemize, producing real money. How do you price the stack? Retainer with a floor plus success fee. Floor covers capacity. For one decide sprint, one systems diagnostic, and the EI cadence. Success fee triggers on uplift or avoided loss beyond a pre-agreed baseline. For example, $12,000 to $20,000 per month floor, plus 3 to 7% of uplift on NRR or gross margin improvements measured over a 90-day window, capped to keep procurement calm. This aligns with market ranges where executive coaching, negotiation support, and strategic advisory often command premium retainers. Always include a kill switch clause tied to leading indicators so leaders feel protected. Now the common traps. First, stacking without sequence. If you don't decide first, EI becomes endless smoothing. If you don't systemize, EI wins decay into whack-a-mole. Second, over-indexing on theater. Beautiful maps, no pilots. Third, talking like a coach to a CFO. Match your language to the buyer. Fix it with structure. Decide the bet, earn buy-in, build the loop, pilot fast, measure scale. You don't need permission to start. Pick one decision in your domain. Run decide. Name the loops. Script the tough conversation. Ship a one-page memo with guardrails. When the pilot lands, capture the delta in CFO terms. That snapshot is your first decision lab case. 3 of those, and you've got a 6-figure narrative. Keep the loop turning, and compounding kicks in. Your 7-day offer build sprint. We're going to ship a real offer in a week. Keep it simple, tie it to CFO-grade outcomes, and design for reversibility so buyers feel safe. Block 60 to 90 minutes daily and protect it. Day 1. Choose a money problem you can price by impact. Pick one where leaders feel pain and the result is measurable within a quarter. Examples: reduce mid-market churn by 2 points, shorten sales cycle by 15%, lift gross margin 2 points via fewer expedites. Write the before/after in one sentence. NRR from 102% to 106% in 90 days without raising CAC. That sentence is your North Star. Day 2. Define decision types, stakeholders, and constraints. Use Decide's first 2 moves. Classify the core decision as reversible or not, stakes, and horizon. Map the sponsor, veto players, and beneficiaries. Name the bottleneck: attention, capacity, capital, trust, or timing. Write 3 risk guardrails that make the sponsor feel safe. A kill switch threshold, a budget cap, and a no-harm clause on a sensitive metric. Day 3. Map the system and identify 2 leverage points. 1 page only. Name the misbehaving stock tied to your outcome: active revenue, cycle time, unit cost. Sketch 2 loops, 1 reinforcing, 1 balancing. Mark 1 delay. Ask, if we push here, where does pressure pop out? Circle 2 levers with asymmetry: small cost, big propagation. Example: tighten discounting for risky segments, and add onboarding trigger in week 1. Day 4. Craft the EI scripts, discovery, objections, escalation. Write 3 short scripts you'll actually use. Discovery script. 3 clean questions that surface certainty, safety, and status needs. Objection script. Label the emotion, meet the need, and present a reversible next step. Escalation script. A 2-paragraph email a sponsor can forward up, framing the pilot, guardrails, and success narrative. Keep sentences short. Add 1 calibrated pause line you'll say, and then stay quiet. Day 5. Design a pilot with kill switch, metrics, and ROI math. Build a tight cohort and a short window, 4 to 8 weeks. Choose 2 leading indicators you'll watch weekly plus 1 outcome proxy. Write explicit thresholds for stop, continue, or scale. Attach simple ROI math. Value of a 1-point change in your target metric across the relevant base. If NRR rises 2 points on a $10 million book, show the annualized value range. Make the budget small enough to be a rounding error. Day 6. Price it. Floor plus success fee. Create a 1-page offer. Floor covers discovery, facilitation, and enablement. Success fee ties to uplift or avoided loss above a baseline. Keep numbers clean. $12K base plus 3% of uplift on NRR above 104% during the pilot window, capped at $40,000. Presented as insurance, downside capped, upside shared. Your 1-pager includes the problem, outcome target, decision type, loop summary, pilot plan, guardrails, metrics, pricing, and a timeline with 2 checkpoints. Day 7. Outreach. 20 targeted messages with a clear before/after. Write 1 crisp message template that names their metric, your lever, and the safety net. If you're fighting flat NRR, I can run a 6-week, reversible pilot that targets a 2-point lift by tightening 1 discount loop and adding a week 1 health trigger. Budget capped at $25,000, kill switch by week 3, decision log included. Interested in a 15-minute fit check? Personalize the metric and segment. Send to sponsors and adjacent leaders. Aim for conversations, not perfection. Here's a working example you can copy. Offer, 6-week NRR lift pilot. Day 1 outcome sentence. Lift NRR from 103% to 105% in 6 weeks on the mid-market cohort without raising support cost per account. Day 2 decision type, partially reversible, bottleneck, enablement capacity. Stakeholders, CRO sponsor, CS leader, pricing manager, analytics. Guardrails, discount rate cannot rise 20% plus, support handle time less than or equal to plus 5%, pilot acceptance greater than or equal to 50%. Day 3 loops, reinforcing, faster time to value drives usage, which drives expansion, balancing, aggressive discounts degrade fit, raising support load and churn. Delays, usage to expansion. Levers, tighten discount for at-risk segments, early onboarding trigger. Day 4 scripts. Discovery. What's the single metric the board is pressuring most this quarter? What would make a pilot feel safe? If we hit the target, what's the story you want to tell? Objection script. Sounds like risk to sales velocity is the worry. Let's confine this to 80 accounts, cap at $20,000, and if win rate drops 10% by week 2, we shut it down, no impact to quota. Escalation email frames the pilot, guardrails, and sponsor credit. Day 5 pilot. Cohort of 80 at-risk accounts, leading indicators, pilot acceptance, discount frequency, week 1 activation, outcome proxy, 30-day retention. Kill if discount frequency rises 30% or activation slips below baseline by week 2. ROI math. 2 NRR points on $5 million mid-market book is almost equal to $100,000 to $150,000 annualized. Day 6 price. $15,000 base plus 3% of uplift above 104% NRR during pilot, capped $30,000. 1-pager includes timeline, kickoff, week 2 review, week 6 decision. Day 7 outreach, 20 notes to CROs/VPCS in your niche. 2 reply back. Book the fit calls, run the script, and move 1 to proposal fast. Land it with proof and repeatability. Capture the decision memo, the map, the dashboard screenshot, and the deltas. That stack becomes your case snapshot. 3 snapshots and your pipeline shifts from hope to math. Proof engines, case studies, loops, and metrics. Proof closes deals. Not vibes, not clever frameworks, Clear stories with numbers CFOs recognize. Build a proof engine that compounds. Tight case studies, clean loop maps, and a handful of metrics that predict money before the quarter ends. Do this right, and each win sells the next with less effort. Track before / after with cohort comparisons and ranges when attribution is imperfect. Start with a case study template you can fill in fast. Context, constraint, intervention, result. Context is the situation in one sentence. NRR flat at 102% for mid-market. Constraint is the bottleneck in politics. Enablement capacity and fear of slowing new logo velocity. Intervention is the smallest viable move. Tightened discounting for risky segments and added a week 1 onboarding trigger. Result is the delta and time window. 2-point NRR lift in 6 weeks. Support contacts per account down 9%. Keep the whole story on one page. Add the decision type, guardrails, and kill switch you use to lower risk. That's what makes leaders say yes. Now layer loops to make behavior change visible. 1 clean causal loop diagram per case, 4 to 8 variables, 2 or 3 loops, 1 delay marked. Title it with the misbehaving stock and the time horizon. Under the map, write the loop story in plain English. Aggressive discounts increased poor fit, which raised support load, slowed onboarding, suppressed usage, and cut expansion. Then circle your leverage point and note the leading indicators you watched. You're not selling a poster. You're showing that you understood the structure and chose a lever that traveled. Metrics matter more than adjectives. Pick a short list that ties to revenue, risk avoided, time saved, or churn reduced. For revenue, use net revenue retention, average revenue per account, and win rate. For risk, use avoided chargebacks, compliance exceptions prevented, or variance reduction. For time, cycle time, lead time, and time to value. For churn, gross churn rate, expansion rate, and health score trajectory. Most people flood dashboards and then argue about noise. Instead, choose 2 leading indicators and 1 outcome proxy you can measure weekly. Leading indicators catch the loop response early. Outcome proxies let you make a credible forecast without waiting a quarter. Loop your wins so they compound. Every successful pilot should create 3 assets: a reference call, a permission to use the logo, and a compounding rate. The reference call is a short list of sponsors who will take a 15-minute validation call for qualified prospects. The logo, used tastefully, reduces perceived risk. The compounding rate is a metric you track internally. Win rate on opportunities where you show a relevant case study versus those where you don't. If that rate climbs, your proof engine is working. Avoid vanity metrics. Page views, impressions, and slide counts don't buy you anything in the boardroom. Tie your cases to CFO-grade outcomes and show how you measured them. If attribution is messy, acknowledge it and use ranges anchored to base rates. We estimate 1 to 2 NRR points attributable to the discount gate, based on cohort comparison and historical patterns. Intellectual honesty builds trust. Build a decision log portfolio you can show. Redact sensitive details and publish the spine. Decision type, constraint, options, recommended pilot, guardrails, leading indicators, and the checkpoint call. Leaders want to see thinking under uncertainty, not just happy endings. Include 1 case where you hit the kill switch early and captured learning that redirected investment. That shows you protect downside in practice. Here's a simple cadence to keep the engine running. After every engagement, schedule a 30-minute proof harvest. Capture the 1-page case, the loop map, the metric deltas, and 1 quote you can paraphrase with permission. Ask for the reference call and logo usage while the win is fresh. Add the case to a categorized library by metric moved and industry. Before any new pitch, pull the most relevant 2 and lead with them in your outreach. A quick example assembled with this template. Context. Marketplace cycle time stuck at 12 days despite added headcount. Constraint. Expedites and context switching from VP escalations. Intervention. Capped work in progress and added a triage gate for high-value orders. Result. Cycle time down 18%, on-time delivery up 12%, expedite rate down 40% in 8 weeks. Loops. More WIP increased weights, drove escalations, created more context switching, which raised WIP. Leading indicators. WIP count and expedite volume. CFO tie. Reduced expedite costs and improved cash conversion. 1 page, 1 map, 3 numbers. Finally, close the loop. Track how proof assets affect sales velocity and pricing tolerance. If deals with a relevant case close faster or accept a higher floor, note it and show it. That turns stories into sales math. Keep feeding the engine, and each engagement lowers friction on the next. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Let's skip the traps that quietly kill deals and margins. They look productive while they stall results. Mistake 1. Selling tasks, not outcomes. If your offer lists deliverables, workshops, decks, hours, you invite procurement to compare you on cost. Owners by movement in CFO-grade metrics. Fix it with impact pricing and ROI math. Lead with 2-point NRR lift in 6 weeks with a capped downside, not 3 workshops and a report. Anchor your floor to the effort and your success fee to uplift or avoided loss. Add the value ladder math on one line. 1 NRR point on your $12 million base is roughly $120,000 to $180,000 annualized. You've reframed from expense to investment. Mistake 2. Overfitting tools. People reach for AI, frameworks, or favorite templates before they define the decision type and the system goal. The result is beautiful outputs misaligned with reality. Start with classification, reversible or not, stakes, horizon, bottleneck. Tie it to the system's objective function, what the business actually optimizes right now, not what slides say. Then choose the smallest tool that moves that goal. If the constraint is attention, a 2-pager beats a 60-slide deck every time. Mistake 3. Ignoring politics. Smart plans die in human traffic. If you don't map power, interests, and BATNAs early, you'll hit invisible tripwires. Run a fast influence scan. Who can say no? Who must say yes? Who loses face if this works? And who needs status from it? Then design EI moves that meet certainty, safety, and status. Give veto players a guardrail they can defend. Give champions language they can own. Politics is just the human system. Build for it. Mistake 4. Skipping pilots. Big bang rollouts feel decisive and create big, avoidable explosions. Pilots with kill switches are how you buy speed and safety together. Design reversible steps, pick 2 leading indicators, and pre-commit thresholds that trigger stop, continue, or scale. When a stakeholder says, "What if this hurts sales velocity?" you can answer, "If win rate drops 10% by week 2, we shut it down." That's how you make change feel safe. Mistake 5. Overcomplicating. Spaghetti maps, 13 KPIs, and sprawling scopes are how teams burn months without moving a metric. Clarity beats complexity. Pick 1 misbehaving stock, 2 to 3 loops, 1 delay, and 1 lever. Choose the smallest viable intervention that hits the bottleneck. If your fix requires 6 teams, you've likely missed a closer lever. Mistake 6. Premature precision. 40-tab models don't make uncertainty go away. They just hide assumptions. Instead, get rough base rates, run an 80/20ths pilot, and update your priors. Document guesses as guesses, ranges as ranges, and the checkpoint where you'll tighten with observed data. Leaders reward intellectual honesty over false certainty. Mistake 7. Decision by default. We'll revisit next quarter. Feels safe and silently compounds risk. Lost time, eroding morale, decaying metrics. Always choose a deliberate default path. Test, pause, or stop with a date and owner. Put it in the decision log so drift can't masquerade as strategy. Mistake 8. Single story thinking. If your recommendation lacks a serious counterfactual, you're selling, not deciding. Attach a counterfactual packet. The top 2 alternatives, why they lose now, and the trigger conditions under which they'd win. You protect optionality and reduce leader regret. Mistake 9. Ignoring delays. Judging a long lag outcome with short lag data leads to whiplash. Instrument leading indicators tied to your loops, activation milestones, discount frequency, expedite rate, so you can steer early. Set the time horizon up front, so no one calls a win or loss prematurely. Mistake 10. Skipping measurement design. If you can't measure uplift or savings credibly, success fees and proof collapse. Before piloting, define baselines, cohorts, and attribution rules good enough for directional truth. When measurement will be messy, say so, set bands, and stick to them. Mistake 11. Solving the wrong emotional need. You drown a status worry in more data, or you add guardrails when they want recognition. Use the 30-second EI test every time, certainty, safety, or status. Then respond with evidence, reversibility, or visibility. Mistake 12. Theater over reps. Nice maps, no scripts. Big goals, no rehearsal. Pressure breaks, unpracticed words. Script the first 3 exchanges, rehearse out loud, record, tighten, and run again. That's how moments of truth bend dollars. How to operationalize the fixes fast. Rebuild your one-pager. Problem, outcome target, decision type, 1 loop map, pilot plan, guardrails, 2 leading indicators, pricing with ROI line, and timeline with 2 checkpoints. Add a decision log. For each decision, type, constraint, options, premortem. Kill criteria, owner date. Review weekly, AAR monthly. Standardize pilots. Cohort size, window, 2 leads, 1 outcome proxy thresholds. Pre-commit stop / continue / scale rules. Install EI cadences. Discovery questions to surface needs, objection labels, escalation email template, and a champion script library. Build proof as you go. Case snapshot, loop map, metric deltas, reference call, logo permission. Harvest within 48 hours of each checkpoint. 1 microcheck you can run today. Look at your current initiative and answer 5 questions on a sticky note. What's the decision type? What's the bottleneck? What's the smallest viable lever? What are the 2 leading indicators? And what's the kill switch? If you can't answer, you're in one of the traps. Fix that, and speed plus safety shows up immediately. Scaling, from solo to asset. You've proven the model. Now the goal is scale without breaking your calendar or your quality. Think in products, people, IP, channels, and optional equity. Each one adds leverage. Stack them deliberately so margins widen as you grow. Start by productizing. Turn bespoke work into fixed scope offers with crisp edges. 3 anchors, a diagnostic, a decision lab sprint, and a systems pilot. The diagnostic is 2 weeks, a flat fee, and a standardized artifact set. Decision memo, loop map, leverage ladder, and leading indicators. The sprint is your decide process with a defined cadence and template pack. The pilot is a 6 to 8 week guardrailed test with a standard charter and dashboard. Fixed scope reduces negotiation cycles and lets you train others to execute consistently, which supports margins as you scale. Next, hire for complementarity, not clones. Your first 3 seats: an analyst to own research, modeling, and instrumentation, a facilitator to run workshops, rehearse scripts with clients, and keep rooms productive, and an ops lead to standardize delivery, maintain the decision and loop logs, and push proposals out on time. The analyst feeds you clean base rates, cohorts, and trend reads. The facilitator preserves your EI standard under pressure. Ops protects your time and turns chaos into rhythm. Hire on artifacts. Ask for a sample memo, a live facilitation slice, and a lightweight system they've built. Build IP as you go. Every engagement should produce reusable templates, models, and scripts. Start a living library. Decide checklists, counterfactual packet outlines, premortem prompts, red team scripts, loop map stencils, and dashboard specs by metric. Package them into playbooks. Then formalize your training in 2 tiers: internal certification for your team and a client enablement track for champions. Licensing your playbooks to clients creates a new revenue stream and cements your methods inside their org, which drives renewals. Channel strategy compounds reach. Referrals are king early. Install a simple ask in your closeout call and offer a small give-get. Then add partner channels, boutique agencies that need decision rigor, analytics shops that need loop design, and executive coaches who want pilots tied to money. Co-create a decision plus pilot bundle. Finally, build niche authority content. Choose one vertical or problem type and publish one-page cases, memo pages, and loop stories with numbers monthly. Depth beats breadth. Your proof engine becomes your marketing. Protect quality with a delivery pyramid. At the base, standardized diagnostics and sprints run mostly by your team with your templates. In the middle, pilots you oversee with a weekly executive checkpoint. At the top, bespoke synthesis for the hairiest decisions stays with you. This keeps your judgment where it matters and lets juniors create value safely. Add stage gates. Proposals must include a decision type, a loop story, 2 leading indicators, and a kill switch before they go out. This also aligns incentives internally by making risk controls non-negotiable. Pricing at scale shifts to a portfolio of floors plus aligned success fees. Set floors high enough to fund team capacity and IP development. Reserve your time for high-stakes calls and executive influence moments. Price that access explicitly. Introduce small productized add-ons that don't need you, a leader scripts pack refresh, a dashboard tuning, or a quarterly decision log audit. These keep relationships warm between big projects. Now, optional equity. Only take it when your lever is structural and measurable. You control a repeated loop that moves a P&L line. Structure as warrants tied to milestones, not vague promises. Example: advisory warrants vest if the pilot hits the NRR band and the scale phase sustains it over 2 quarters. Keep equity as a minority of your total compensation. Cash flow keeps you independent. Install a single operating cadence so the machine runs without you. Weekly pipeline rhythm: 10 quality touches, 2 discovery calls, 1 proposal. Weekly delivery rhythm: 1 live pilot checkpoint, 2 decision labs, 1 systems review, and a 30-minute proof harvest. Weekly review rhythm: pre-mortems for upcoming pilots, after-action reviews for finished sprints, and updates to decision and loop logs. Weekly learning rhythm: 1 case debrief and 1 model upgrade or template improvement. Protect deep work blocks for you and your analyst, and set negotiation windows so high-stakes conversations get your best energy. Guard against scale traps. Don't let customization creep kill margins. Hold the line on your product boundaries. Don't outsource EI. Coach facilitators relentlessly with recordings and roleplay. Don't let IP sit in heads. Everything goes in the library. And don't chase every inbound. Qualify by metric, decision type, and sponsor power. If the buyer can't commit to a pilot and guardrails, it's a content lead, not a client. Here's a micro story from a team that scaled cleanly. They started with a 6-week NRR pilot offer. Month 3, they hired an analyst who built cohort tooling and a loop indicator pack. Month 5, a facilitator took over workshops and rehearsals. By month 8, their IP library had 22 reusable artifacts, and delivery margins jumped meaningfully. Their channel partner, a RevOps agency, sent multiple deals per quarter because the combo delivered revenue and safety. The founder spent most time on executive influence and synthesis, with smaller blocks on training and selling. Revenue doubled without adding chaos. Last piece: succession of trust. As you introduce team members to clients, narrate the baton pass. Jordan runs our diagnostic flow. I make the final call. You'll see my fingerprints on the decision memo. Then show up at the first checkpoint to model the bar. Clients trust who you trust when your standards are visible. Scale as a system. Productize, hire complements, package IP, choose channels, and pace with a weekly operating system. Do that, and you'll add zeros without adding fires. Weekly operating system. Scaling is a system, and systems run on rhythm. Here's a weekly operating system that keeps pipeline full, delivery tight, learning compounding, and your energy protected, without bloating your calendar. This cadence also beats the feast-famine cycle common in advisory work. Pipeline rhythm first. Aim for 10 quality touches, 2 discovery calls, 1 proposal sent, every week. Quality touches are not blasts. They're targeted notes that name the metric you move, the lever, and the safety net. Warm with relevance. Follow with a case snapshot. Close with a 15-minute fit check. Book 2 discovery calls by Thursday. Use a standard discovery sheet. Decision type: sponsor power, misbehaving stock, timeline, and guardrails appetite. If it's a fit, issue 1 crisp 1-pager by Friday noon. This drumbeat prevents feast-famine and trains your market to expect your pace. Delivery rhythm. Anchor on 1 live pilot checkpoint, 2 decision labs, and 1 systems review per week. The pilot checkpoint is a 30-minute session. Read out on 2 leading indicators: a decision against thresholds, stop, continue, or scale, and any guardrail adjustments. Keep it brutally simple. Pilots live or die on momentum. Decision labs are focused decide sprints on active choices. 1 per sponsor, structured with your template pack. The systems review scans a stubborn metric and updates the loop map and leading indicators. Don't drift into status theater. Every meeting must end with a commitment or a kill. Review rhythm. Do a pre-mortem on upcoming pilots Monday morning. List failure modes, assign countermeasures, confirm kill switches. Friday, run an after-action review on anything that hit a checkpoint. What surprised us, what we learned, what we'll update in the memo or map. Update decision and loop logs immediately. This short loop is where judgment compounds. You're not just doing work, you're upgrading your playbook weekly. Learning rhythm. Run 1 case debrief with your team midweek. Pick a recent decision, walk the decide spine, the loop story, the EI moves, and the numbers. Extract one improvement to a template, a better pre-mortem prompt, a cleaner guardrail phrasing, or a sharper leading indicator. Ship that upgrade to your IP library the same day. Then, a quick model upgrade on Thursday. Add or refine one mental model you'll use next week. Base rate source list, discount frequency banding, or a new counterfactual structure. Small, consistent upgrades beat sporadic big pushes. Energy rhythm. Protect 2 deep work blocks of 90 to 120 minutes for you and your analyst. No meetings, no slack. Use them for synthesis, decision memos, loop maps, pricing math. Schedule negotiation windows for high-stakes calls when your energy peaks. Batch low-stakes admin at the end of the day. Install a cool-down rule after difficult conversations. 5 minutes to capture notes, update scripts, and reset your state. Burnout destroys judgment. Design your week so pressure moments get your best brain. Tooling keeps the rhythm. Honest. Use a simple tracker with 4 tabs. Pipeline touches, calls, proposals, delivery, pilots, labs, reviews, proof, cases, loop maps, metrics, and learning, template upgrades, model notes. Each row needs an owner and a date. Color code stop / continue / scale decisions. Add a small automation to pull leading indicators into the pilot dashboard daily. Don't wait for meetings to see drift. A word on sequencing. Monday, pre-mortem, deep work, touches. Tuesday, decision lab 1, discovery call, deep work. Wednesday, systems review, case debrief, outreach follow-ups. Thursday, decision lab 2, negotiation window, model upgrade. Friday, pilot checkpoint, after action review, 1 proposal out, proof harvest. Keep it flexible, but start from this spine. It prevents random walk weeks. Common mistakes here: overloading days with meetings, letting pipelines slip during delivery sprints, and skipping the proof harvest. Fix with guardrails. Max 3 meetings per day, pipeline block before noon, and a 30-minute proof harvest after every checkpoint. You'll feel the compounding after 2 cycles. Quick win to install today. Create the 4-tab tracker, block 2 deep work windows, and schedule next week's pre-mortem and checkpoint. Then send 3 targeted notes using a recent case snapshot. This OS is boring on purpose. Boring systems drive exciting results. Action steps you can do today. Let's lock momentum with 6 moves you can finish fast. First, pick one money problem and write the before / after in one sentence. Use a CFO line and a time box. Lift NRR from 102% to 104% in 60 days without raising support cost per account. If you can't state it clearly, you can't sell it. Second, run the decide checklist on your next real decision. Define, reversible or not, stakes and horizon. Establish outcomes. 1 success metric, 2 guardrails. Collect signals, base rate, 1 leading indicator, 1 adversarial input. Identify options, include do nothing. Decide and de-risk with a pre-mortem and a kill switch. Execute and learn with a decision log entry you can show later. Third, use the 30-second EI test in your next tough conversation. Observe, label, map, need, respond. Certainty. 2 leading indicators will review weekly. Safety. Fully reversible by Friday with no quota impact. Status. You'll be credited in the exec update. Keep it to 1 sentence and stop talking so it lands. Fourth, map 1 loop causing churn or delay and choose 1 lever. 1 page only. Pick the misbehaving stock, sketch 1 reinforcing and 1 balancing loop, mark 1 delay. Ask, if we push here, where does pressure pop out? Circle a lever you can test in 2 weeks. Tighten discounting for risky segments or add a week 1 activation trigger. Fifth, craft a 1-page offer with floor plus success fee. Problem, outcome target, decision type, loop summary, pilot plan, guardrails, 2 leading indicators, pricing, and timeline. Pricing example. $12K base plus 3% of uplift on NRR above 104% during the pilot window, capped at $30,000. Presented as insurance, downside capped, upside shared. Sixth, send 5 targeted outreach messages before you sleep. Template. If you're fighting flat NRR, I can run a 6-week, reversible pilot that targets a 2-point lift by tightening 1 discount loop and adding a week 1 health trigger. Budget capped at $25,000, kill switch by week 3, decision log included. Worth a 15-minute fit check. Personalize the metric and segment. Attach one relevant case snapshot. Bonus micro habits that compound. Install a decision log today. Schedule a pre-mortem for your highest stakes pilot. Rehearse your objection script aloud once. And block 2 90-minute deep work windows next week. Small reps make big bets safe. Do these 6 moves in the next 24 hours, and you'll feel the fog lift. You'll have a clear outcome, a de-risk decision, a loop lever, a sellable offer, and live conversations on the calendar. One sentence takeaway: master decisive thinking, emotional leverage, and systems clarity. Then package them into small, reversible pilots tied to CFO-grade outcomes. Next move: subscribe and watch the Decision Lab deep dive on pricing and pilot design. It includes the exact thresholds, scripts, dashboards, and templates to copy. Then do this today. Send 5 targeted outreach notes using one case snapshot. Put time on calendar, not intentions.